Hello internet friends, and welcome to the Legion Beta Alpha first look, first pass summary after 4 hours of testing of the Affliction Warlock. I'm going to test you and show Demonic Servitude and Grimoire of Service real quick as I go over my bug report due to the fact that it's kind of wonky on later stuff. I want to get these out of the way. So you can, of course, still have 2 Doom Guards out. You can have 2 Infernals out. But while I do this and show you that that still works, if you spam Drain Life right now, like the channel spell goes away and your Warlock just stands here, which is obviously a bug. Summoning an Infernal right now as a normal cooldown, like he walks forward and walks back and then goes back into melee. Like he'll spawn and do damage and then he'll run towards you and then run back into melee. It's kind of weird. His auto attack doesn't start right off the bat. It's kind of goofy. Seed of Corruption. Without Sow the Seeds. Sow the Seeds is a new talent that lets your Seed of Corruption use 1 Soul Shard to AoE around it. We've got no Soul Shard right now, no talent, 1 Seed of Corruption. But if I get a Soul Shard real quick here via Agony, give it a moment, it should proc any second now. This is my next bug. Agony says it has a chance to give you a Soul Shard per tick, but what's the chance? It should just tell you the chance, maybe? No? I don't know. I think it should tell me, because I was kind of confused on where I was getting my Soul Shards, how much of a chance it is. Again, no Sow the Seeds, Seed of Corruption, and I AoE them. So that's not working as intentional. It shouldn't be doing that. Obviously, when you take Sow the Seeds, it should, but right now it isn't. Siphon Life. Siphon Life right here is your new extra dot. It actually is its own dot now. It obviously is not scaling with your spell power, as it does 1,000 damage, which is pretty low. And it also isn't healing you. So, actually, it might be healing me now. Is it healing me now? I wasn't healing me earlier. Am I getting healed? Okay, the healing is working, but the damage is, really, really bad. Okay, well, that wasn't working earlier today. Don't know what happened there. Maybe, rezoning made it work? I have no idea. It was healing me for 0 earlier today, but the damage, obviously, is not scaled properly. Soul Effigy. This was an hour of the testing today. It was a long time testing this thing, and I'll show you a lot of the Soul Effigy nonsense when we get to the end of the video after getting everything else out of the way. Due to the fact that Soul Effigy is really gameable right now, and I wonder if it will stay this version. But Soul Effigy, if you talent it, which my demon's gonna go away now, I bet. If you talent it and spawn it, you get it lasts for 10 minutes. If you talent away from it, once I get out of combat here, let me zork over to my portal. Oh, whoops, wrong button. I want to put you down over here. No, put you down right here so I can get out of combat. If you point it down and then you talent away from it, it stays. Which is obviously incorrect, because then you get benefit of both it and something else. That's not good. So that needs to be fixed. It's not in the game right now to actually go away when you talent off of it. And, the Demonic Power Sacrifice Explosion Synergy from Grimoire of Sacrifice now, we don't know if it's supposed to meteor or not, because right now it hits for full damage on all targets regardless of target cap, which is really powerful. When your Demonic Servitude did, when you have the Doomguard pet ball up here, once it says Doom Bolt, it says it gains you Demonic Fury, which is obviously a tooltip error. And yeah, it says the Master gains Demonic Fury as Affliction, so that's obviously not correct. But rolling through the spellbook here, it's not going to go over the passives that I have here normally. You have Potent Afflictions, which is your mastery, so Agony, Corruption, Stable Affliction, increased damage is your mastery. Secrets of the Necrolite, which is just that your damage is dealt increased on Drain Life, which it still does no damage, it's supposed to be your new filler. Whoops. It's your new filler when you're not casting anything else. It's also the way that you drain your mana very heavily, because Life Tap is a huge portion, not a huge portion now, but Life Tap is definitely back and is part of the Affliction rotation, right? Managing your mana to keep it up, because your main filler, Drain Life, or if you talent over to Drain Soul, is a stronger version of Drain Life, same mana cost, but this will drain your mana relatively quickly. So your spells don't cost a whole lot. If you're spamming a bunch of cross dots around, maybe it eventually costs mana, like Corruption's 4,800, Agony's 4,800 right now anyway. UA doesn't cost anything. That's the next thing to go off for. UA is now your spender. UA is 1 Soul Shard, short cast, 8-second cooldown, lots of damage. It ignites, so if you stack multiple UAs on top of each other, all the damage just gets rolled into whatever dot is left, right? It doesn't multiply the damage. It just if each one does 10,000, if you stack all 5 on top of each other at the same time, it would be 50,000 over 8 seconds. It just stacks the damage on top of each other, just numerically on top, on top, on top, on top. So that's a pretty big change from where how UA is now with like Haunt. You'll see Haunt right here. Haunt is just a spell. Haunt is just like, yeah, and flap. The only difference is it's like a super powered Shadow Bolt, but if the target dies when the Haunt debuff is on them, Haunt will reset. You can cast it again. That's the only synergy with Haunt now. I had Writhe and Agony talented currently, which means that Agony's damage may ramp up twice as high, so just double the damage basically. It goes from 10 stacks, the 10 stacks of Agony stacks, to 20. And then again, Drain Soul is the replacement for Siphon Life. So, has a Drain Soul mechanic again. It does give you a Soul Shard if the target dies while under the effect. It does also cut the healing a lot. So, the healing on Drain Soul is 7% over the caster's, of the caster's health over the duration, whereas Drain Life is 21%. Now again, you'll be life tapping as an Affliction Warlock, so keep that in mind to some degree. But, I mean, if you don't take Drain Soul, you can take like Siphon Life Tap, even more dots. Life Tap plus Drain Life, like you heal yourself just fine. I can't imagine it'll be a big deal. People were freaking out a little bit about it. I don't think it's a huge problem. You're going to heal yourself just fine. Contagion kind of makes Haunt what UA is and or was. It just means that like as UA is on the target, you increase all damage dealt to the target by 5%. Does not stack with multiple UAs because there's no stack of UA. It also does not double dip. UA doesn't buff itself by 5% by being a contagion. Doesn't work like that. Absolute Corruption. Corruption is permanent. Or a minute on player. Still, of course, dispellable. But permanent Affliction, permanent Corruption through this talent, it does work with Seed of Corruption, for what it's worth. Mana Tap is your new weird rotational ability here, due to the fact that I have, like, no buttons to put right here. Put on T. Mana Tap dunks 40% of your current mana. So you can dunk yourself, and you can keep dunking yourself. I feel like it should take 40% of maximum, because then you have to, like, play around having mana. But you can stay at low mana and keep the buff up. And keep the damage buff up. It also Pandemic, so you gain like an extra couple of seconds on the 15% damage modifier. From my knowledge, this is good for burst or good for cross-dotting. But I don't think it'll be good for like single target damage. I'm not sure. I'm not a Warlock. I have no idea. But Mana Tap versus Absolute Corruption. Corruption saves you GCDs. Mana Tap is a GCD, but gives you a small damage buff, or a small, large damage buff for a short period of time. And then Contagion is a passive. It makes your UA. I'm not sure if you ever want to, like, stack UAs. If you don't take Contagion, you can just, like, 5 Soul Shards, dump 5 UAs on the target, right? And then have, like, a huge UA rolling. I'm not sure how it's going to work yet, or not if you want to just roll your UAs slowly over the course of time. Who knows? Soul Leech is still here. Life Drain, Drain Soul, give you a shield. Mortal Coil is still here. Howl of Terror is still here. Howl of Terror. Howl of Terror! Siphon Life, new thing. So the Seeds, again, this is your extra AoE for all your damaging components. Soul Harvest is, however, new. So Soul Harvest gives you all your Soul Shards with a small cast time as 2-minute cooldown. So yes, you can dunk 5 Soul Shards into UA, use this, and put 5 more into it. Only, of course, like 6 or 7 will be technically around because of GCD casting time. But for the most part, you can get a gigantic UA going with Soul Harvest. But it's your only, like, other cooldown. If you don't take Demonic Servitude, all your cooldowns are just summoning your Doomguard, which is a 3-minute cooldown by default now. So both your... Where are they at? So Doomguard is 3-minute cooldown, 1 Soul Shard, or Infernal is 1 Soul Shard, 3-minute cooldown. They share the cooldown. This is your only cooldown as Affliction if you don't have Servitude, or you don't take Soul Harvest. Your only cooldown. That's it. That's it. 1 AoE cooldown with last 20 seconds, or 1 single target cooldown last 20 seconds. That's it. That's it. So that's... I don't know. We want to play around with. That's all you got. Supremacy is still here. More health, more damage on your pet. Service is still here. You can summon an extra pet for 25 seconds with 2-minute cooldown. Sacrifice is still here, which I don't know if this is the same effect you have on live currently, but your spells have a chance to explode nearby them, and which hopefully it'll proc sometime soon. I'll put more dots up, I guess. Oh, I gotta sacrifice my pet. I'm not a freaking Warlock. I always forget to do this. I'm sorry. So bring out my pet, sacrifice that bad boy, now put my dots up. I may should start. There we go. There's the explosion. Boom, 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 baby. So it deals extra damage to the target and all enemies within 8 yards. There's the boom, boom, the explosion. Right? So that's what Demonic Sacrifice does now with the Grimoire. It's called Demonic Powers, the Explosion. So we'll get to the Phantom Singularity real quick. It's a 1-minute cooldown where it's a 40-yard range. It ticks faster with your haste, and then of course it lasts shorter, but it ticks faster, of course. It's a haste component, and it deals damage every like 1.6 seconds now, and it heals you for 30% of the damage done. It looks pretty cool. Instant cast. It's uh-oh, it didn't spawn. Where's the effect? Help! Maybe I'll have to recast it, but I don't have enough time to do that. I'll check to see. It spawns like a little purple cloud. It's like not right here. It's supposed to spawn. It worked earlier. Maybe it's not working on the training dummy. I'll spawn on one of these in a moment. But you notice it AoEs a large radius, 25 yards. And it automatically hits like all targets within 25 yards every, 1.6 seconds. And you heal for 30% of the damage done. It's cool. It's like your AoE other thing, but like Demonic Servitude plus Grimoire of Sacrifice plus Double Infernal might be really good AoE too, so I don't know what's better. But Phantom Singularity is your option here. That's what it looks like. And I don't know what's going to be better, because when I look at Soul Effigy here in a moment, which I'll wait one more time and throw another Phantom Singularity here to see if I can get the spell effect to show up here for you guys. It looks pretty cool. Let me get out of combat real quick. Oh, why does it always do that? Stupid cooldown. I want to put you over here. We're walking away. Oh, don't hit me, please. That would kick me in the face. Walk over here. Get out of combat. Out of combat yet? Stop looking at me, Swan. There we go. Okay. Cancel. Drop this down. We'll walk back over here. Can I put my gateway in Ashran? I couldn't put it in the shrine. Oh, gateway. Yes, very good. Oh, wait for it to spawn. Okay, there we go. So let me see if the Phantom Singularity spawns. Oh, man. That's a new bug. Found that live. Because it spawned earlier and now it's not spawning. It looks like a cool purple cloud. Well, you can find that in the entire VOD of testing if you want to see the spell animation. Because that used to spawn. I don't know why it's not. But it hits this guy way over here. Hits the boss dummy back over there. It's crazy. It hits so far. It's just like absolute bonkers how far the range is on the AoE. But it doesn't really do much damage right now. Maybe it's just like weaker right now. Or it needs like lots of targets to be worth it. So, I don't know. Demonic Servitude, Sacrifice might be better for burst AoE or sustain. This might be good for something. But, so I'll start talking about Soul Effigy now for the end of the video here. Because this is like the big new, like, talent. Of course, you still have all your other, like, you still have your, I have Kilrog and Health Funnel and Unending Breath and Soulstone and Create Soulstone and Soul Well and your Gateway and your Enslaved Demon and your Ritual of Summoning. It's all still there. Your only DR baseline, if you don't take Soul Leech or you don't take Dark Pact, is, which I guess why here, Demonic Circle is now a talent, which is not right now. So Demonic Circle, Burning Rush, Dark Pact are all talented. This is probably a big contention point that some Warlocks are kind of mad about, but if you don't take Dark Pact or Soul Leech, which I guess you probably just would automatically because it's PvE, you can't really get Mortal Coil or Howl of Terror to work for you. All you have is a 40% DR where you're immune to interrupts and silences for 8 seconds on a 3-minute cooldown. That's it. I mean, it's powerful. Still has the cool, like, demonic wing stuff on your character. Looks pretty neat. Little, like, sigil and the stuff around your feet there, like the little tapestry. But that's your only DR. Outside of all your self-healing, of course, which you can take Siphon Life for. You can have your Drain Life, of course. Drain Soul is less healing, more damage. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how it's going to work out for Warlocks having only 1 DR. You might have to take Dark Pact on purpose for some fights if you don't need the movement. Like Burning Rush and Demonic Circle are movement, and not movement. So, we'll see. But, so Soul Effigy, I'm in combat again. I can't teleport back to my circle for some reason. Why can't I do this? You can't do that yet. Help. There we go. Get me out of combat. Get back over there. So, Soul Effigy is... The way it looks like on paper is you cast it, it spawns the effigy next to you, the damage you deal to it, 50% of all damage goes to what you effigied, which I put that you need to have like a debuff that shows that you effigied this target. So if I put up dots, they fly over and they deal damage to what is effigied, right? Sure, perfect. That's totally fine. It feels very warlocky. You're gonna be dotting up the boss anyway. You're gonna be dotting up your little ads from your Soul Harvester, your artifact weapon. You're gonna go to town. You're gonna go get in there and you're gonna cast your Drain Life and to keep your dots up. I'm assuming you probably like put your Soul Effigy on like a focus target. so you can keep seeing its dots, and you know, target your boss, and you can like tab back over here. I'm like, oh, I need to refresh my dots over here. You never cast UA on the soul effigy because it's halves the damage, so you wouldn't want to do that. I doubt you would want to do that. That would be bad. But the problem with effigy is that it has some pretty awkward damage spreading mechanics. So again, we're going to summon my imp back out here. I have sacrifice. We're going to take Sow the Seeds as to be, you know, proper with the actual spec how it's supposed to work. We're going to sacrifice my imp. Now, what if you do this? I'm going to use this dummy up here as my effigy target just to show you where the damage goes. But say if the boss is this one, effigy spawns near the warlock. You can spawn effigy here. And then if you put dots up on everything, not only does the damage that gets carried over happen, but when your effigy blows up for your demonic power from demonic sacrifice, it hits the enemies around it, which will also hit the boss. Then it will also hit the effigy, which will then go back again and hit the boss again. And then what if it happens when you Seed of Corruption? Watch the combat log. I don't know if this is intentional, because forcing the warlock to run into... Forcing the effigy has like a timing window where all the damage within like a small like GCD window where 2 seconds then goes over and hits the guy, so it doesn't like have like a ton of spam. But I don't know if this is intentional. To have the warlock have to walk into melee range to drop his effigy down, that just seems really awkward that you have to do this to like game the mechanic a little more. Because it looks like it doesn't do a ton of damage, but I'm assuming, you know, just because damage ratios right now are kind of low, and you have the artifact involved. So I don't know if this is intentional. You can take mana tap right now and then, you know, amp your damage even more. So I don't know. I think that spawning it next to you and it's like a cross dot component is kind of cool, but spawning it next to bosses so that you have this weird damage cycle of when it deals damage to itself, it deals damage to the boss, and then when you AoE near the soul effigy, it takes damage from this AoE, and then that also hits the boss. I'm not sure, friends. It looks a little bit wonky. I think it's a cool talent, but I think it's gameable with AoE, but we'll see how it plays out. I've rambled on far too long. Hopefully you all enjoyed this preview of the Affliction Warlock. If you did, hit that like button. It helps me out a great deal. You also subscribe to my YouTube channel right here and check out all my other classes that I have previewed. And I'll be doing artifacts soon in class halls, and in the second pass we have artifacts all unlocked in the future here, and of course all the other specs when they become available in the alpha beta, whenever that does happen in the future. The servers go down the 21st of December. They'll be back up in early January or mid-January, whenever they have the new build. And if you want to help me out the most, check out my Patreon page. I'm trying to make this my full-time gig, be a content creator, producer, streamer, all this kind of good stuff, and I need your help if you want to help me out. But thank you all so much for watching. Have a great, happy holidays. I will see you in the next preview. See you all later.